FMC to hold hearing on Red Sea. Impacts on shipping. The Federal Maritime Commission, FMC, has announced an informal public hearing focusing the impact of conditions in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden regions on commercial shipping and global supply chains. Federal Maritime Commission, FMC, is an independent federal agency responsible for regulating the U.S. international ocean transportation system. It oversees commercial shipping, ensuring fair competition and integrity within the market. The hearing comes in response to disruptions caused by attacks on commercial shipping by the Iranian-backed Houthi group in Yemen. The attacks have forced most major ocean carriers to reroute ships around the Cape of Good Hope, lengthening voyages and pushing freight rates higher. With the US and UK launching military strikes on Yemen, there are mounting concerns that the situation could result in prolonged disruption to global trade through one of the world's busiest trade routes. The FMC's hearing will provide a platform for supply chain stakeholders to share their experiences and strategies. It will also allow the Commission to gather information on new and related issues subject to FMC statutes, such as implementing contingency fees and surcharges. Carriers have been implementing rate increases and fees to recover costs associated with the longer voyages and higher insurance and security expenses. The FMC recognizes the financial strain the threats pose on the maritime transportation industry, but it reiterates that the charges must meet strict legal requirements under the Shipping Act, U.S. competition laws, and all other applicable laws. A spokesperson for the FMC tells G-Captain that its staff is actively monitoring rates, charges, and rules implemented by common carriers in response to the disruption. According to FMC regulations, common carriers must provide a 30-day notice between the announcement and effective date of a tariff change that increases shippers' costs. However, carriers can submit a special permission request to reduce this waiting period if they can provide a good reason. The FMC emphasized that ocean common carriers must ensure timely and accurate filing of service contracts and their amendments, and adhere to the Shipping Act's prohibitions against unjustly discriminatory practices, unreasonable prejudices, and unreasonable refusals to deal. The public hearing is set to take place on February 7, 2024. Container rates soar on concerns of prolonged Red Sea disruption. Container shipping rates for key global routes have soared this week, with US and UK airstrikes on Yemen stirring concerns of a prolonged disruption to global trade in Red Sea, one of the world's busiest routes, industry officials said on Friday. US and British warplanes, ships and submarines launched dozens of strikes across Yemen overnight in retaliation against Iran-backed Houthi forces for attacks on Red Sea shipping, widening regional conflict stemming from Israel's war in Gaza. Most container ships are avoiding the nearby Suez Canal, a shortcut from Asia to Europe for almost one-third container ship cargo. The latest escalation fueled worries that oil tankers and bulk carriers that ferry vital commodities like grain could also avoid the shortcut, risking a new round of global inflation. The benchmark Shanghai Containerized Freight Index was up over 16% week-on-week to 2,206 points on Friday. The index, which measures non-contract spot rates for container shipments out of China's ports, has gained 114% since mid-December. Rates on the Shanghai-Europe route rose 8.1% to $3,103 per 20-foot container on Friday from a week earlier, while the rate for containers to the unaffected U.S. West Coast soared 43.2% to $3,974 per 40-foot containers week-on-week, leading shipbroker Clarksons said on Friday. The longer this crisis goes on, the more disruption it will cause to ocean freight shipping across the globe, and costs will continue to rise, Peter Sand, chief analyst at freight platform Zanetta, said on Friday. We are looking at months rather than weeks or days before this crisis reaches any kind of resolution, he said, referring to the growing conflict. Major container ship owners such as Maersk and Hapag-Lloyd have switched Suez Canal-bound ships to the longer route around Africa's Cape of Good Hope. This has disrupted complex vessel schedules, delayed cargo, and sent shipping costs sharply higher. It is likely oil tankers and other types of ships will follow in higher numbers in the near term, Jefferies analyst Omar Nakhta said in a note on Friday. Major importers already are reporting fallout from the Red Sea crisis. Tesla on Thursday said it would temporarily suspend most car production at its factory near Berlin after Red Sea-related diversions led to a lack of components. Global furniture seller IKEA also warned of potential product delays. The price of a vast range of goods threatens to march upwards.